I feel fine.
Start speed, John
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Rocket Tranquility, we copy you on the ground.
New possibilities are opening up for scientific cooperation between countries.
1-0.
Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Discovery, roger. Go for deploy.
Everybody in the shuttle program, the crew is go for launch.
Hothead, nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
Welcome to NASA's Kennedy Space Center. We're here celebrating, getting ready for NASA's SpaceX Crew-2 mission to the International Space Station. A super exciting time for us. This is the third crewed flight from American soil within a year's time frame. So we are incredibly excited to be expanding capacity on the space station. There's a lot going on. I have some amazing guests here this morning and want to make sure that I get a chance to introduce them in just a minute. Some order of business here. Want to make sure you all know launch is scheduled for 5:49 a.m. on Friday. If you haven't heard, Mother Nature, although we're celebrating Earth Day tomorrow, had other plans for our launch attempt in the morning. So we're going to give it a shot on Friday. And so we might talk about that a little bit more to this morning as to why we're not going to attempt tomorrow. But it's an incredible time. Please make sure you ask your questions, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. We're going to be taking those live here momentarily, and we're going to jump right into it. So I want to ask the folks here, I'm going to introduce them really briefly, and then give them a chance to share, number one, what you do for either NASA or our international partners for their agencies, and then where you're going to be on launch day, what your role is. So we'll start here on my right with Mr. Cabana, the longest serving Center Director for the Kennedy Space Center. Congrats and welcome.
I don't know if that's good or bad, Josh.
I think it's a good thing.
I think the good thing about it is that because I have been here so long, we've been able to complete this transition from shuttle to this amazing multi-user spaceport that we have today. You know, my role, I get to lead this amazing team at the Kennedy Space Center, and I got to brag on them a little bit. You look back on this last year with all the COVID and all the issues we've had and people, mandatory telework and everything else, and the team here at KSC, the team across NASA has not missed a beat. I mean, Steve's going to talk more about it, I'm sure, but look at all our accomplishments. Since last May, we launched Bob and Doug to the International Space Station in May, first flight of a crew from the Kennedy Space Center on a U.S. rocket from U.S. soil to ISS in 9 years. You know, we've got the Crew-1 mission launched last November. They're going to be coming home here on the 28th. And we're getting ready to launch Crew-2, making history again because it's a reuse of that capsule that flew Bob and Doug on that demo flight, and a reuse of the Falcon 9 booster also. We've also launched, missions to Mars, landed the Curiosity rover, and I can go on and on. We got we're averaging 10 NASA flights a year here at the spaceport over the next 5 years. And when you add up all the launches from here at the Cape, including the Air Force launches, we got close to 50 launches this year, and it's only going to increase. And that's the environment that we're in for America's space program. It's absolutely outstanding. And of course, I'm going on and on here, but I got one more plug. We got the core stage is coming. It completed its green run. And on the 28th or 9th, we'll see they're getting it into the Pegasus barge over there at Stennis. It's going to come into this turn base and back behind me, tie up to the pier, and roll over in that building where we already have the solid rocket motors stacked up on the mobile launcher for that Artemis 1 test flight that's coming hopefully later this year, but at least early next year. And that's going to be absolutely amazing as we fly that big rocket. I can't wait. So with that, I'll stop. I could go on and on. Amazing team, and I'm looking forward to your questions. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, no, and the passion is something that we appreciate about you, Mr. Cabana. You're always excited, always telling the story well, so thank you. And now we'll send down to the other end Mr. Steve Jerzik. He's the acting administrator for NASA. Welcome, and tell us about your role and where you'll be on launch day.
Yeah, so before January 20th of this year, I was the associate administrator of the agency, kind of like the chief operating officer, the down and in running the place day to day. Was really challenging, particularly starting a year ago March to run the agency with a global pandemic, but I could not be more proud of the team. the NASA team with our industry and international partners. Since the 20th, I've been acting administrator for NASA, so I run the agency. If I was AA, I'd be over in Firing Room 4, launch control with Bob and the SpaceX and NASA team, but as acting administrator, I'll be in Orbital Support Building 2, OSB 2, with our guests, including our international partner guests, and running things from there. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Hiroshi Sasaki.
Thank you, Steve. I'm Hiroshi Sasaki, Vice President of JAXA, responsible for human spaceflight and space explorations. On Friday, I would stay in KSC and leading the JAXA team supporting the Aki Hoshide. And I spoke to Aki Hoshide last night, and he's ready to launch. And this is his third flight, and he will become the ISS commander on this mission. Thank you.
Yeah, this is actually the first time we'll be passing command from a JAXA astronaut to a JAXA astronaut.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Incredibly proud of that team and the work that we're able to kind of help enable and be a part of.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, Mr. Frank Davina from the ESA, the European Space Agency.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Frank Davina, I'm currently the ISS Program Manager for ESA, for the International Space Station. I had the pleasure to fly to the ISS myself twice, once in 2002, once in 2009. My role today is, here is to be the lead of the ESA team here for the launch and the launch preparations and the launch support. And I will be in the LCC, the Launch Control Center, for the launch. Of course, I would have preferred to be up in the rocket. I proposed it to Thomas when he arrived here 5 days ago, but he was not ready to switch places, unfortunately. But so yes, excited to be here and excited to look forward to the launch on Friday.
Awesome, welcome. And next up, we have astronaut Tracy Caldwell-Dyson. Or did I get that right? Or did I get it backwards?
No, you got it.
Perfect. Okay, thanks. Sorry, that went fuzzy in my brain. But thanks for being here. If you're not familiar, Tracy will be here on Friday morning as well. She'll be helping to co-host our launch broadcast coverage beginning at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So, Tracy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm very excited to join the broadcast team on launch day. Back in Houston, I am an active astronaut, an experienced one. I've flown both on shuttle and on station through a Russian Soyuz rocket and capsule, and with that affords me a lot of experience from space and living there. And so I put a lot of that to use back at Johnson Space Center in training other astronauts, as well as supporting the missions that are ongoing, and that's exactly what I'm doing here today. And I'll just add that it's very surreal being here right now. I can't remember the last time I was at Kennedy Space Center for a launch. It was not my own. It was as support, as a C-squared, we called it a Cape Crusader, one of the astronaut support personnel. But nevertheless, walking around in anticipation of seeing a launch from here just brings back some great memories and some excitement. So excited to be here.
Hey, while you're there, Haley Ray, age 9, wants to know, what did you do in your free time on the International Space Station?
Oh, goodness. There's not much free time on the International Space Station, but I'll tell you, any time I had just to nestle myself in that cupola, that's exactly where I was, gazing down at this beautiful planet and thanking God that I was there.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, the cupola, I think it's a 7-window kind of dome structure.
It's like a bay window. It's got 6 windows along the perimeter and one very large one on the top, which in most days the station is oriented with the cupola facing the Earth, and so you're basically on a glass-bottom boat looking at the Earth, if you want to think of it that way.
I do want to think about it that way. Like, that sounds amazing. I love it. All right, thanks, Tracy.
You bet.
And last but certainly not least, Jasmine Mogbelly. I said that right?
You did. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Yeah, so you are among our newer astronauts. So tell us about what you're doing these days and what you're looking forward to on launch day, and obviously getting to fly someday here before too long.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jasmine Mogbelly, as you said, member of the newest class of astronauts, the Turtles. So I'm one of the astronauts that Tracy has helped train, and she's been a mentor to me and spent hours and hours helping me out in the neutral buoyancy lab and watching hours of my video to give me feedback. So as I said, I'm the member of the newest class, so I have not been to space yet, like many of the people behind me. Looking forward to doing that at some point. I'm very excited about watching the 4 crew of Crew-2 launch to space, and hoping someday to be in one of these rockets myself as well. I've been working on exploration recently on the Human Landing System program. And as I said, I'm super excited to watch this launch. I haven't seen one since 2006 when I watched the shuttle launch, so it'll be really exciting.
Awesome. While you're there, we had a question come in. How long will the Crew-2 astronauts stay on board space station? So this is a pretty standard, we're getting into standard rotation, so what does that look like for these astronauts?
Yeah, so this is the first commercial crew handover we have from Crew-1 to Crew-2, and they'll be on board for about 6 months as well, expecting them to return in the fall of this year after their long duration mission. And basically they'll be up there doing science and research and any maintenance that needs to be done on the station and all the standard things we do up there.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so we're going to keep going through questions here. This one's for either Mr. Sasaki and or Mr. Davina. The question was, do you all plan to fly more astronauts with the commercial crew program in the future? And then kind of a tag on to that, how is this partnership helping to kind of brighten our space exploration, our space work together, us all working together?
Okay, JAXA is planning to send astronaut to the ISS. Already assigned 2 members, Wakata, you know, very famous astronaut, and Furukawa. And also we are now selecting the new astronaut for the not only the ISS but also the moon. And international for JAXA there is we can do the some part is very strong, but the other part is not strong. So we can coordinate and partnership support our activities, and we can get a fruitful outcome to the at the station and human space flight.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate JAXA and all the work that you all do with us.
Yeah, and so for ESA as well, of course, we will have now Thomas sitting on the rocket on Friday. But in fall, as Tracy just mentioned, or Jasmine, there will be another crew coming, and Matthias Maurer will fly on that crew. And then in next year, about this time, we will have Samantha Cristoforetti. So we will actually have 3 ESA crew members in a row flying on USCV vehicles. But of course, we will continue with the ISS program. We hope to have, in ESA, we are working hard to get an extension of the ISS till 2030. We are doing a new astronaut selection right now. We hope to fly those new astronauts to the ISS as well in a continuous way. But that's not all. We are also working with NASA and the international partners for further exploration. The biggest step or the concrete step for us right now is, of course, the Gateway. We are a partner in the Gateway, and we will not only fly crew here on the commercial crew, but we also intend to fly crew on the Orion vehicle, what Bob just mentioned. We have 3 flights to the Gateway. That will also hopefully happen in the next 10 years from now. So it's a great time to be a European astronaut, I can say. So if I could switch jobs and go back to the core, I would be the first one to do so.
Yeah, very good. Yes, and if we didn't mention it, hopefully we have lots of friends watching from Europe. Good afternoon to them. Our Japanese friends watching, good evening to them. And as we're hearing from NASA and our partners, there's lots of opportunities around the globe to be an astronaut. So certainly there are those that obviously love it and wish they could do more of it, but certainly more opportunities for the future. Mr. Cabana, I'm going to ask you kind of a 2-part question here, and it's about reuse. I don't think we covered the fact that there's a lot of reuse happening with this mission, but somebody online asked, do we expect that this Dragon capsule would be reflown for a future crewed mission?
I think that's the plan, and we'll have to take a look at certification, how we work through the process. There's a lot that has to be done between missions to make sure that it's safe to go forward, but we will be looking at reuse again down the road. I got to give the team credit. I mean, they worked extremely hard this last year to certify the reuse of the Falcon 9 booster. That wasn't something that we had originally planned for. And I think the demonstration of the multiple flights that they've had, the reliability of it getting there, I think one of the neat things about reusability is when the vehicle comes back, we found things that needed to be changed that we would not have seen had it not been had we disposed of it out in the ocean. But having it come back, you can find problems, fix them before they become a serious problem. So, reusability brings down the cost of space flight. I always tell folks this isn't the first reusable spacecraft. We had multiple flights on those orbiters and those solid rocket motor casings and those engines. In fact, the engines on the shuttle are what are going to power Artemis 1 when we launch SLS and Orion later this year. And those solid rocket motor casings, the same ones that we stacked up on the shuttle are the same ones, those same casings, only 5 segments instead of 4 as we launch Artemis. So, that's the goal. Reusability brings down costs, and we learn a lot every time we get the hardware back too.
Awesome, thank you. And did you cover what we're reusing this time? Because I want to emphasize that.
I did.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got it there.
Again, so on this flight for the Crew-2 mission, this Dragon capsule that's flying is the same one that Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley flew last May. And I think that's kind of cool because Megan MacArthur gets to fly in the same vehicle that her husband flew on.
Same seat.
And it's they named it Endeavor, Bob and Doug. And so Endeavor's flying again. And I was always kind of partial to Endeavor. That was one of my favorites. And and the booster flew on Crew-1, and now it is flying again on Crew-2. Pretty cool.
Very exciting stuff. So thank you, sir. Mr. Jerzik, a couple questions for you. Again, all these kind of put people on the spot here. The Soyuz can take about 3 hours to launch and dock. And for this mission, we're looking at roughly 24 hours, a docking time estimated at 5:10 a.m. on Saturday. What's the difference there in those times?
Yeah, so we've evolved the Soyuz operation. Actually, Soyuz used to take multiple orbits in a while to dock, and we've worked with, as Russians have evolved their capability and their systems, and we've evolved operations, we've been able to hone it. So it's just launching and phasing with station and getting to rendezvous and docking. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and so people might ask the question, why would we launch at 5:49 a.m.? And it's not by choice, it's by this. That's when we got to catch the space station.
Correct. And we're waiting for space station to come over and phase with them so we can most efficiently and effectively get to rendezvous and docking. Okay, Bob.
So I haven't checked yet, but I got to jump in real quick, Steve. So because we're launching at that time of day, that is right before sunrise. And for all the space aficionados out there, right before we launch, you're going to see the space station come overhead on the pretty much the same orbit as the Falcon launches to catch up with it. So I'm hoping for really clear skies and being able to step out and see the ISS track over. It's awesome. It's the brightest star in the sky when it comes over.
It is, and I think, I'm not sure which launch it was. The second or third from the last shuttle launch was a pre-dawn launch. And it was really cool to see the station go overhead. It's really easy to see, and then launch. And of course, any pre-dawn or night launch is simply amazing. And for shuttle, it was just incredible. I think I was across over at Banana Creek watching that shuttle flight, and the pre-dawn launches are just amazing.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, please make sure you step outside. Most anywhere in Florida, on a clear night, you can see a night launch taking place, so hope you'll see that.
And Josh, you'll correct me if I get this wrong, but I think it's nasa.gov /spot the station, and it will take you to, you can put in any destination, but if you plug in Cape Canaveral, you'll get the times and all the other information for where to look in the sky.
And some really cool apps.
And really cool app that will give you a reminder of when the next pass will be in your area.
Yeah, if you search for Spot the Station NASA, you'll find it. I'm not sure if it's nasa.gov /spot the station or spotthestation.nasa.gov. It's one of those, but that's, yeah, and you can actually set up text alerts. So they'll text you and tell you, hey, the station's going to be visible. They'll tell you where to look and what time to look and how long you'll be able to see it for. So it's incredible to be able to see things in space and know we have people living there and have for, I think, almost 22 years now. We're coming up on 22.
Yeah, well, it was November of 2000 when...
you would know something about that, I think.
No, mine was prior to that. But when we sent Crew up was November 2000, and of course that was Yuri Gudzinko, Bill Shepard, and Sergei Krikalev, first crew on the ISS to actually live on it. But these two need to comment on this. When these guys get up there, they're going to have 11 people on the space station. You know, Tracy, you've been up there. What's it going to be like with 11 people on ISS?
So, as some context here, it's the size of a football field, but the living space is, I think I've heard roughly like a 4 or 5 bedroom house.
Yeah.
And so it's not enormous inside. It's spacious, but 11 people is a lot of people.
Yeah, it's cozy. And when we used to have two Soyuz crews, so that's 6 people plus a full complement on a shuttle, that would be 13. So we've seen this before, but this is going to be rather cozy with so many folks actually living on the station on the shuttle. The shuttle crews would they would live inside the shuttle and be sleeping inside the middeck, but today, now that we're going to have Dragons up there, the capsules are too small. There may be 1 crew member inside that capsule for now, but for the rest of the folks, they're going to be living and sleeping inside the space station. We don't even have enough bedrooms for all of them, and so they'll be camping out on rack fronts. But I would say that the thing to keep in mind, though, about the space station is, though it's the volume roughly about a 5-bedroom house, you have the entire volume, whereas you can flip upside down and be walking on a different surface, and so it may seem a little roomier, but not a whole lot more. But.
and I hear, Mr. Davina, you have some comments on this as well. I'd love to hear that. And we also had a question come in, and the question was, what was it like being in space for the first time?
So yes, it can get cozy up there. I think the dining table at the space station is about the size of this plaque here, so 1.5 by 1.5 meter or something like that. And I have very nice pictures, exactly like Tracy said, with the 7 people from the shuttle and the 6 people from ISS. So 13 people around this small table. But then indeed you can look from the top and you can hang under the bottom. So it's you can use the 3rd dimension, so that makes it a little bit more feasible. And of course, yeah, my first flight, I think it's a little bit the same like any astronaut. It might sound cliche, but looking down and seeing this amazing planet from up there is really great. How beautiful this is. But now also linking to Earth Day, how vulnerable our planet really is, and we really need to take care of, because today this is still the only place that we have to live. There is not something else where we can go very quickly, so we need to take care of this planet very well. And the second thing that I noticed, okay, this was a little bit later already, but still I was trying to see where is Belgium, where is Germany, Cologne, because my home base is in Cologne, and you don't see any borders from space. It's impossible to see. So flying from Belgium to Germany, to Poland, to Ukraine, to Russia, there are no borders, and we all know in which state the world is today, unfortunately. And so I wish that maybe some more people could see our planet from above and see that we are all one humankind living on one very, very little tiny ball in the immense universe.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Jasmine, question for you came in. What advice do you have for someone in college who would like to be an astronaut or work for NASA? And I'll start that by saying you beat a lot of odds. I think in your class there were something like 15,000 applicants, and I think 12 candidates were selected. Was it more than that, Tracy?
There were 18,000.
It was 18,000. Okay, did you look at all 18,000?
Yeah, so as you said, it was extremely competitive, and I still can't believe I was one of those 12 looking back. But I think the most important advice I can give is if you look at our astronaut office, people come from all different backgrounds. So there's no one path and there's no checklist to becoming an astronaut. But I think if you look at each of us, you could say we did something that we were passionate about, and we did our best to excel in that field. Because as an astronaut, you end up needing to know a little bit of everything. You know, I've had to learn geology since being here. I've had to learn about medicine. I've had to learn about maintaining the vehicle and all these things, which are not, you know, I'm a helicopter pilot and test pilot, so that's not my background. But just, you know, picking something that you really love, and because of that, you will be passionate about it and you will excel in it. We have generally picked people from scientific STEM fields, you know, engineering, mathematics, those fields. But I think just do what you love is the most important advice I could give.
And one of the things, this is my own question kind of for you, and I've heard this talked about. People think that astronauts have to be these incredible leaders, and I think that that's probably true. But I almost as quickly hear astronauts say, you need to be a team follower as well. Can you speak to that and how critical that is, a lesson for all of us?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, my background in the Marine Corps, I feel like I learned it set me up very well for success here. And I think really you need to be able to be a good follower to be to be a good leader, because the same traits and the same skills you need to have carry over. If you can't listen to someone and hear their perspective and take that into your input and build your situational awareness from that, you can't lead either. So being a team player is critical, especially you talk about 11 people in a 5-bedroom house. You know, you have to be a team player or you're going to go crazy.
Yeah, that's very good. And like I said, a lesson for all of us in what it takes to get there. So we are about out of time for this morning. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of say a last word, kind of whether it be a thought for people watching that something that they should know about this mission or know about our work collectively, or just if you want to say, hey, I'm excited for launch. We'll start here on my right and we'll work our way down the list here. Mr. Cabana?
I think I just want everybody to walk away knowing that we have an amazing space program. We have an amazing team across NASA. You heard about it from Jasmine and everybody else. And I just want to express my great pride that I have in what we do. Everybody in our nation needs to take pride in our space program. We are a world leader. We're a world leader in space. We have to learn how to live off our home planet, to explore beyond, to establish a presence in the solar system beyond planet Earth. That's what we're learning on the International Space Station. That's what we're going to learn when we go forward to the moon and establish a sustained presence there, not just a 2 or 3 day camping trip. That's what is going to prepare us to go on to Mars. That's our future. I want to see us evolve and move beyond, and it's all starting right now. So remember that. Be safe. Follow all the COVID rules. Get your vaccination, and we're going to charge ahead and keep getting the job done. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Jasmine?
Yeah, I think something that I find really exciting about launching this crew to the International Space Station is we just don't have people just living up there. They're doing research and experiments that directly impact us down here. And whether it comes to the crew looking back at the Earth, with the Crew Earth Observation Program, they've taken millions of pictures, and because of the trajectory of the space station and its orbit, we can take those images over time, and we cover so much of the Earth and look over them and say, hey, what can we do to protect our planet? And, as Frank mentioned, this is the only home we have right now, so we need to take care of it. I think that's really important. And also the research they do that, as you mentioned, Steve, for medical purposes, that, the tissue chips experiment, I'm not going to talk about it now because we don't have much time, but you should look it up. It's some incredibly cool stuff that we're doing up there. And so I think that's really worth mentioning. And I'm extremely excited to watch Shane, Megan, Aki, and Tomas launch into space.
Yeah, thank you, Jasmine. Tracy, I know we'll get to hear more from you on Friday morning on the launch broadcast. There was a question about what would you encourage little girls with as far as them growing up and becoming engineers or involved in STEM or astronauts. What advice would you give?
What advice would I give to the little girls? Well, I would. I just have to echo what Jasmine said, and that is, find what you enjoy doing and take stock in that. And whatever you do later on in life, make sure that it involves those things, because it's those things which are going to get you out of bed without your alarm clock or your mom and dad telling you that you need to get out and go do that thing. And I think that first it's to discover what you enjoy doing, and then it's invest your time in it. And that's going to pay huge dividends, whether you want to go into a certain field or you want to go into that field, or you're still trying to discover where you want to be. I think that's really the right path to start yourself on.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Davina, and one of the things that I know I heard you talk about this in, I think, the news briefing, was that Tomas has the opportunity to finish a science research project that he started years ago, and I think that's cool. And I know Jasmine mentioned the science as well, so lots of science here that we haven't talked about today, but incredible research happening.
Yeah, there is incredible research happening on station, especially now that we have 4 USOS crew members there permanently. We have so much more time to do exciting science. The experiment that Tomas is going to work on is on neurology and neurology science. But we have a lot of other cool things as well. In medicine, for example, we are building protein crystals that are essential to understand how we build new medicines in the future. So exciting time to be in the space program. It's an exciting time for the young girls and boys in ESA in Europe that want to become an astronaut. Please go to our website and apply. As Jasmine and Tracy said, the important thing is to believe in yourself, to do something that you like, and then you will automatically be good at it. And we are looking for your applications. It's exciting. Not only to fly to the International Space Station, but together with our colleagues from the International Partnership, JAXA, NASA, Canada, we will go forward to the moon, the gateway first of all, and then eventually I'm sure that we will have also international astronauts not only flying on the International Space Station, but we will have international astronauts on the surface of the moon. So exciting times. And Thomas, go fly.
Yeah, very good. Mr. Sasaki?
Okay. So I am working for the HTV resupply vehicle of JAXA, and we believe that we supported lots of activities for ISS, and so international partnership is important at gathering the strengths of the partners, and international partnership will become provide a much more efficiency and much more result. And so we want to continue the international partnership, not only to the ISS, but also the Moon, the Mars. So I want to go together with each partner. Thank you very much.
Very good. Yes, and I can speak from personal experience that the way our agency, we speak about and we work towards the international partnerships, they are becoming more and more important. And like you said, so valuable for all of us. Mr. Jerzik?
Hey, thanks. So, yeah, like Bob said, I could not be more proud of the NASA team along with our other agency commercial and international partners for what we've been able to accomplish over these decades, but particularly over this last really challenging year. Third crewed flight to the ISS this year with Crew-2. I am looking forward to launch and docking and hatch opening and talking to the crew, and hopefully on Saturday morning, right? And welcoming them to the station, and also following along with all the research and technology development that they're going to do. Everything from, like I said, medical research to Earth observation to developing and proving out the technologies and capabilities we're going to need for sustainable lunar presence through Artemis, and then onto human missions to Mars. So I am just really excited to be at the Kennedy Space Center again for the Crew-2 launch, and looking forward to the Crew-1 return next week. Again, just could not be more proud of the team, and just an honor and a privilege to lead this agency. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate the leadership. And in closing, just want to remind everybody, Friday morning at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll open coverage for a planned liftoff of 5:49 a.m. Eastern Time. And like Mr. Jerzik just said, hopefully docking and hatch open early Saturday morning. It's an exciting time here tomorrow. We have a lot of Earth Day activities as well. So happy Earth Day tomorrow. Check out nasa.gov for more on that. And thanks to all of you for joining me and all of our viewers for tuning in. And for now, we'll just say, go Crew-2.